Evan,
Alive. We're back.
we're back with episode number 97. Firespace High. Put your hands together, everybody. Thank you.
Woo!
I'm hoping nobody applauds and they really get the feel of how we feel. But Evan, today it was interesting because I was sitting down and I was like, I had a thought. I was like, what if I updated the intro for the podcast? And I couldn't do it.
I'm gonna say, wait, did I watch something different?
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Okay, cool.
Honestly, it already. I think I've already made it like as hard as it can go. I think it's good.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
I was just like trying to look up is there other hyperspace clips from Andor or something, like people just jump to hyperspace clips.
Our intro could just be the 10-minute monologue from Homeboy in Andor episode 10.
The manifesto.
The manifesto. What's his name? Fuck.
Menik, or what's
There's the S, doesn't it?
No, it's M, right? Nemec. N. The N. Nemec's manifesto.
Oh no! I'm talking about not the manifesto. The monologue.
Oh, you're talking about Luthen.
Luthen. There.
10 minutes.
Rail. It's like 10 minutes. Like 5, 10. Isn't it? It's long, isn't it?
I mean, it has room to breathe, but it's probably no more than 3 minutes.
Maybe the entire scene is 10 minutes, like with the elevator and then the talk.
I went to Star Wars uploaded the Nemec's manifesto clip.
Yeah.
It's only 90 seconds because it's not the full manifesto, but drop the audiobook.
Good old manifesto. Man, Andor. I miss Andor. Man, that's peak television. Peak television. I was talking to my brother about Andor. We were just like, man, Andor is not just one of the best Star Wars shows. It's one of the best shows of recent years in general. But we're here to talk about Ahsoka.
We are. Yeah, I don't want to drag. It was funny because I was watching the clip for the manifesto and I'm looking around. I'm like, fuck. It looks so good. And great. I keep forgetting that's the one show that had the full blown sets.
Yeah. I remember when that show was getting, made in the pre-production. We were just oh, we're in for something special because they created all these sets from scratch and all that kind of stuff. So, and then Dave was like, "Fuck it, I'm bringing back the volume." I'm kidding. No, I mean, I think he's doing a little bit of both here in Ahsoka, and I like some of the sets. Cetos continues to be a very cool set, in my opinion. I like the Cetos environment.
Oh, with the red trees and
the foggy landscape.
I love it.
It's really cool.
That's my vibe, man.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't steal your vibe.
I'm gonna steal theirs.
Oh.
I saw the plan. I'm like, I'm writing a new scene.
Oh my gosh. Overall, what do you think of Ahsoka episode 3? Nathan, you go first.
I like it. There's a lot of humor, more humor interjected into this episode that makes it feel a lot more akin to a Rebels episode.
Oh, for sure. It felt like a classic Rebels. I thought overall it was fun. It was solid. It was cool. Didn't really push the needle for me. I didn't go away saying, "Holy shit!"
It is.
It was solid.
I mean, a third of it is action. So
yeah, I told Jalen this. I was like, that was a lot of flying. Not all of it super engaging for me. I thought some of it was cool. I think when it began, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I love a good space chase sequence. It's really cool. But then it kept on going, and then it kept on going, and then it kept on going. I'm like, okay, this is getting a little bit tiresome.
It's a 3-act structure of a battle.
I know, right? Exactly. Overall, it was fun. I just wish, coming off episode 1 and 2, I was like, okay, we get past the Rebels ending. We all know, we all knew what was happening. Not knew what was happening in episode 1 and 2, but as Rebels fans, we kind of were already established with the characters, their motivations, what to do. And episode 1 and 2 kind of spoon fed us a lot of stuff we already knew, on top of some new stuff with Morgan and Thrawn and the map. Those are kind of the big new ones, on top of Shin and Baylan as well. And those were the things I was excited about. I was like, I want to learn more about Shin and Baylan, how their relationship contrasts with Sabine and Ahsoka's. However, I think in this episode, we got some good Ahsoka and Sabine dynamics, it's growing there slowly but surely. At least recovering, because it already happened off screen, but now it's recovering. But then Shin and Balin kind of were just non-existent, unfortunately, in this episode. Shin was like, fighter pilot, but she wasn't doing much. She was just pew-pewing. But I wanted more of that. I wanted more of the antagonism there. I also wanted more, how do I explain it? I wanted more like Sabine and Ahsoka in-depth talk. Like, we got some good Sabine and Ahsoka stuff. It was kind of stuff, again, that we already knew. Like, hey, or overall, not just Sabine and Ahsoka, but just with Hera, like the whole Ezra thing. We're getting reminded about things we already know or like, perceive. So I'm like, okay, I want some new, fresh Sabine and Ahsoka stuff. But granted, I did love, we'll get to it, the Force discussion was cool. And then like the training session was, I'm not the biggest training fan, but it was redundant but cool as well. I liked what Ahsoka was doing there. But again, I think we'll get it in episode 4 because given what we see in like some of the trailers, and I try to stay far apart from the trailers, but
me too.
It's the internet. But
I think I saw the first initial trailer and the Anakin spot.
The Anakin spot is hard to ignore. Exactly. I tried avoiding it too, but watching a random YouTube video, just like Anakin once, I'm like, yeah.
And it's new audio, but they didn't show any footage of
exactly. But I think we'll get some good Ahsoka and at least some good Balin stuff. I think the Ahsoka and Balin duel is most likely next week. Given where the episode ended off, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Spoiler alert: the people going after Ahsoka aren't going to make it out. And
also, like a lot of these Mando era shows tend to specifically only market like the first half at most of the season. Yeah. So that's
weird. Star Wars shows know how to market the first act of their series, while Disney Marvel shows are just like show them everything. Show them everything.
It's funny to think back, right? Because you like thinking back to like the first look at Ahsoka, it was primarily mostly was marketing the first couple episodes, and everyone's getting like hyped at the first look, like, oh my god, and it's just Sabine on the road.
Yeah, just Sabine, or the back shot of Hera, like Hera, oh my god, that's her, definitely her. Oh my god, and yeah,
we're walking on sterile ships.
Like that ship, is it the Ghost? Like it has to be the guys.
But I had to point out that like they're on the ship from Return of the Jedi, the Akbar ship, whenever they're over on the Hera side.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Home One, I think it's called.
Sure. Home One. How creative, guys.
You just say sure. Like, this is a Star Wars podcast. What are we doing? Where's our credibility? What are we doing? If I can't name fucking every Purgle's specific subspecies, what are we doing?
People, if first-time viewers, happy to see you guys. But people who watch this podcast know I'm not the biggest ship guy. They could be on Home 26, and I would be like, cool, great. It doesn't push my needle.
If you come to me 5 years ago, I had so much back knowledge of random shit from watching so many like Star Wars Explained videos and such.
Yeah.
But like nowadays, I'm like, I don't have to.
Yeah.
We were always just like, it's all interconnected, right? Like, and everything's gonna come back. Like the littlest details of the developments of the ships and the First Order. Like,
I'm all good like on Star Wars symbolism, Star Wars lore, Force lore specifically, or like character relationships. I know that stuff. Yeah. But when it comes to minutia of ships and blasters, I'm like, that's Han's blaster. Like, I don't know.
If the sets look and props look cool, they look good.
Exactly. If it fits the context of the scene, I'm like, that matches. That's cool. But yeah, again, overall, I thought there was a solid episode. For me, it still feels like I'm watching. I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah. Cinema. No. For me, it still feels like it's episodic television, but not the episodic television that I like. You know what I mean? Where it's like there's nothing of real substance per episode. Like if I name a random Breaking Bad episode, and again, I hate comparing it to like high bar television, but just like Ahsoka or Andor or Breaking Bad, it's like specific episodes have specific meanings. Like something was accomplished here in this episode, whether it was episode 1, 3, 5, 7, whatever. something of substance happened, or a character got moved in a certain direction in an episode. While shows like Mandalorian or now Ahsoka, I'm like, what happened in episode 3? Not saying this is filler. It's not at all, because we got progression with character relationships that I liked. We'll get to that. But it's like nothing of big, like, importance. Character importance happened. At least, again, what I'm looking for is like back and forth character relationships, and we get a little bit of it, but not like as much as I want with Ahsoka and Sabine. But either way, let's talk about it though, because a lot of the stuff I liked is at the beginning of the episode here with some. And again, I don't like training sequences. I hate the word training.
The word.
I hate the word training. It's awful. What a weird word to say. Training. Anyways, I'm kidding. It's fine.
Training wheels? Bullshit.
They
ride or they die.
Yeah. I didn't. My brother and I notably didn't use training wheels that often for bikes at least. Like we used it a little bit, but then we quickly, grew into the two-wheeler, like the bosses that we are. You. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah.
Me, I didn't ride a bike till I was 10 years old.
Wow! Holy shit!
Out of fear, because and I've told the story so many times, it must be true.
Yeah.
That every time my parents were like, starting to like help me out on two wheels, and they were holding the bike, I'd be like, "Don't let go," and they're like, "We won't," and they fucking do. And I developed trust issues, and I was like, "I'm not fucking right, because you're gonna let go, and I'm gonna fall. I'm not gonna do it." So then, cut to when I'm 10, and I have a little sister, and she has a little bike. At some point, her training wheels were taken off, and it's this tiny fucking bike. I've outgrown it, but I've managed to balance on it. And then the next door neighbors that we were close with, they had a spare bike, and they said something that was probably bullshit, but they were like, "Well, now since you did that, you could ride any bike." And that something tricked my brain chemistry, be like, "You're right." And I rode it, and I felt like fucking Harry riding the fucking hippogriff over the river.
I'm weak. That's great. Man, good old Prisoner of Azkaban. Yeah, tragic story, Nathan. That's Nathan's
tragic story.
Tragic, but then happy.
I rode plenty of bike in my peak era of kid bike riding.
Yeah, I mean, I used to love my bike, man. I used to go everywhere on my bike. But yeah, where are we going with this? Oh yeah, training. So Ahsoka and Sabine, and what I like about this is that Sabine's Mandalorian side is really peeking out. And again, these are things that I was talking about in terms of already knowing about Sabine. This is basically what she went through via Trials of the Darksaber that we just watched as well. Yeah. Great episode, guys. Watch it, Star Wars Rebels. Trials of the Darksaber is peak. But again, Kane was talking about the same thing, how she's Mandalorian. She's prone to anger, prone to frustration. And in our commentary, we were like, I love this episode because it's all about how Sabine is struggling with her guilt with her family, the struggle she's having within her current family with Kanan and Hera and Ezra and matching up to them. And also just like, moving forward as this person with a lot of, not guilt, but just pressure with the Darksaber and everything like that. And, Vizsla on her, like, hey, you got to do this kind of thing. Now, the guilt is there. It's kind of a new form of guilt, in my opinion. I'm just thinking of this right now, but like the guilt that she has in terms of like not being able to reach Ezra yet, that kind of guilt, it's eating at Hera, as we see later on. It's eating at Sabine as well, where I think internally a little bit, possibly, the guilt of Ezra is kind of like hindering her concentration, her focus, on top of her previous struggles with Ahsoka, with not being able to accurately be in tune, as she explains, with the Force. That frustration is kind of like the most overt frustration that we see in the episode. But also, yeah, then her, again, character struggles with Ahsoka. That whole, like, she's still dealing with Ahsoka being back in her life, and that kind of frustration is eating out of her as well. So all of those frustrations combining into a whirlwind of emotions for Sabine was pretty cool to witness. Again, I don't know if Filoni's considering all of what I just said, but it's really cool to think about for Sabine, which I think is just an awesome character. And I can't wait to see her grow. And there's some good comedy later on as well with the cup that I liked. But yeah, so far in that first scene with the... because the first one is the training goggles scene, right? That's the one?
Yeah, it's the the projection sabers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the one with Hu Yang.
Doing the different saber forms,
which was cool. Again, I like that. Yeah, that was prior to her getting mad. But yeah, the saber forms is really cool. Some people online are way more fluent with saber forms than I am. I used to be, when I used to consider like Star Wars debates about like which Jedi in their era could defeat which other Jedi in their era, etc. Now I'm just whatever. But Hu Yang was really cool in that scene. The effects of the training lightsabers are really cool as well. Overall, I really like that sequence. That was really cool.
Me too. I've never been knowledgeable about any fighting format, frankly. I've just been like, hey, they pose like that. That character does that one, basically. And it hasn't hindered my understanding of the story whatsoever.
Hey, what?
It hasn't hindered. It has.
Oh yeah,
hindered my experience of the story.
And it won't, right? Like these are basic things that are just like they're semi complicated, but like they're really unnecessary to really
just lore building.
Yeah, just lore building. It's really unnecessary to be informed about. If they said numbers like Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, etc. Because I think I remember Form 1 is for like lightsaber only users, like without use of the Force kind of thing, or using as little Force movement as possible is Form 1. Form 3 is kind of like Anakin and Vader's like big thing. Or is it Form 5? Form 3 or Form 5 is like the full-on like frontal attack, like Anakin using it on Dooku in the first act of Revenge of the Sith. What Vader did with Luke on Empire Strikes Back is the same form. It's just that like the brute force form, which is hard to counter, unless you're Kenobi, who's all, I think Sarisu, one of them, full-on defense or whatever. But either way, I really liked it from Sabine, which again, the whole Mandalorian aspect coming out there is really cool. And yeah, I just love the Master and Apprentice vibes. The whole, do we go from Hu Yang to the droid sequence, or not the droid, but just where she's like Ahsoka's like tapping her shoulder? Is that all in the same sequence?
It is. It's immediately
okay.
After.
Got it. Yeah. So I love that sequence where it's just Ahsoka kind of like we're finally seeing like Sensei Ahsoka here as well, teaching Sabine about how to like sense one's movements. Again, this is really cool. This is kind of like what the reverse of what Kanan did to Sabine, or Kanan was, for all intent and purposes, the blind one when she was training Sabine. So like Sabine's a blind one, but she's a trainee, and Kanan was a blind one, but he was a master and training in the episode. So I like that kind of role reversal there. But yeah, I kind of like that sequence. It was really cool. Ahsoka kind of like testing Sabine's ability to be patient and be in tune with the Force. Of course, it doesn't really work. She still has a lot to do and recover from. But it was really cool. And I like the quote here that Ahsoka says to Sabine, where she says, "Anger and frustration is quick for power, but can also unbalance you." Very much like a Yoda, old school kind of George Lucas quote as well.
Yeah,
I liked it. So yeah, cool stuff. Sabine's still struggling. Like right now, she's still no match for Shin, but maybe we get a Sabine and Shin rematch in episode 4 as well. I think I remember seeing an image, a video.
I think there was a snippet of a rematch, but I think it's in the forest,
which is on Cetos.
Maybe.
How many more forests are we getting?
All of that. The unknown regions. I don't know.
The unknown regions have forests? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I think my brain auto-filled like climactic battle, but again, like they tend to not market those.
They tend not to market those, exactly. And I still think, I don't know. Are Finn and Balin super evil? What's gonna happen with them? I don't know.
I mean, we can't do this because every time we're like, oh hey, some deeper themes. They don't
do it. They don't do it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Filoni wouldn't hurt to get a little bit deep. I mean, Filoni's a deep guy when he wants to be. Like the quote I just mentioned about like, anger, frustration, quick to power, but also can easily unbalance you. He's good. Filoni has always been good at those. How do I explain it? Psychological Force Jedi talk and dialogue. Again, I keep saying this in this episode, but like in Twilight, not Twilight, but in Trials of the Darksaber, like that episode is full of just powerful lines from Kanan, from Sabine. Like he's good with the powerful character-rich dialogue and force and concentration-esque dialogue. And he's the one who also gave Yoda one of the best quotes in the Rebels, where it's like, it doesn't matter who we fight, it's how we fight. In terms of like how Ezra is talking to Yoda about like the threats of Maul and Vader and all kind of stuff. It's like, it doesn't matter like who, like the Sith, right? It doesn't matter who we're fighting. It's about how we fight, which has always persisted across Star Wars. And I always compare that to like Tico, what's her name from Last Jedi? I'm blanking. Rose thing. Like, how do I remember Paige but not Rose? What the hell?
Also Tico.
Tico, yeah, like that's weird. Anyways, Rose is all about like it's how we fight. It's how we
Skywalker kid's name.
Yeah, was it Luke? No, his father Vader. No, yeah.
Obi-Wan.
There we go. Cool. Yeah, you go. But like Rose is all about that in terms of like it's how we save the ones we love, not like being quick to anger and like fight for vengeance, all that kind of stuff. So Filoni's good at that stuff. It's just, you know, I don't want to get my hopes up about like character arcs for Filoni because he usually just ends up in tragic death most of the time for Filoni. You know, Kanan, Satine, Maul, you know, the rest. Star Wars is a very tragic story, yes, but like it doesn't have to be. You know, why can't we all?
Every time, I'm like, you didn't have to do this.
I always go back to fucking Return of the Jedi, one of the most happy movies of my life, where it's just like, we won! Like
the Lando clap.
The Lando clap.
That's the best. Who made that? Mr. Sunday movies?
I think so. I always think of him. Like, it's happy. I like being happy sometimes. I mean, some of my favorite characters in fiction are the most tragic characters in fiction. I love me a good tragic character. But I also like being happy. Like, Haikyuu, one of my favorite shows of all time, and manga of all time. It's happy. It's a happy show.
It feels like they keep wanting to do the tragedy of Vader with everybody, which like and it's powerful in the full context, but at the time it was just like he was the villain for 85%.
Yeah, exactly.
90% before we got his backstories and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not everyone, and most of the time it's not like redemption arc deaths, and there was a mistake with Ben, we will forever say, to kill him, not to redeem him. We wanted the redemption. But
I honestly don't know what Filoni would have done in JJ's shoes, because I could easily see him doing the same mistake that JJ did with Ben. But I can also see him going different.
Could have at least been. Well, I mean, it's not that I guess you couldn't have. Of course, we prefer it didn't happen, but if it could have just been handled differently, I guess.
I saw it happen.
He got knocked off the cliff, man.
I mean, if they had Ben just get thrown off a cliff, and then at the very last frame of Tross you see a dark figure coming out of the like sand on Tatooine, that would make it the best movie ever. I mean, granted, Rey's arc is still very bad, but in my opinion, in Tross, not in 2/3 of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got to have our.
I was like, what happened to you?
What?
You scared me for a second. I was like, what happened to you?
I love Rey. Rey's great. I mean, I just don't like Tross Rey. People are always like, Evan, you don't like Tross because what happened to Reylo and Ben? Like, no. I mean, granted, I love Ben, but like Rey also got probably, arguably, in my opinion, done worse than Ben in some instances. With her parentage and stuff. I just think it was.
Should we read commentary, Tross?
Should I go through that again? I'm good.
A yearly revisit.
Oh my god!
It's therapy. We gotta overcome.
Will Evan ever forgive JJ? Yes. Will Evan ever forgive Tross? No.
We'll bathe in the waters of Star Trek 09. And...
Yeah, I'll just rewatch Star Trek 09 10,000 times because that is peak cinema.
You know what's coming
That's
back
all that happened. What?
You know what's coming back to the theaters right now?
You're joking.
There's like a few. I think just because like the strikes and things getting pushed, theaters want to play more favorites. So like, there's a couple of different films coming out, but one of them, Star Trek 09, is coming to AMC.
Since when?
It's coming up. I'm bummed because it's in like my tiniest auditorium. I'm like, damn, but
That's bullshit. Like,
it's bullshit.
Give me Star Trek 09 in IMAX.
They're not giving it IMAX. I wish, but
I wish AMC.
it's like 5 locations in the country.
Oh shit!
Bond was coming out. Was doing
next Friday.
Hey.
Hey yo! It's breaking news. Wait, what?
Is Evan gonna go?
I just saw it like 2 weeks ago. I literally just saw it like 2 weeks ago. In theaters, though.
In theaters.
Man.
2009 and Mr. Chance.
I'm going through it right now.
Have you seen it? Did you see it in theaters or no?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
You did?
I saw all the Star Trek in theaters.
Okay.
It came out in 2009. Like I saw Iron Man 2008 in theaters. I saw every MCU movie in theaters.
I wasn't going to theaters by myself till 2012.
I think my dad was the one who was like, we gotta watch Star Trek 2009, and he was the most excited for it, and it ended up being my favorite movie this summer. I loved it. I had no idea what to expect because I wasn't a huge Star Trek guy in 2009.
I was that dumbass kid who was like, you can't like Star Wars and Trek.
I know.
Until like one day, I think my dad had gotten the new Star Trek 09 in the mail from Netflix back when that was the Kickstarter, and it was playing, and I was like watching down the hall, and it was the opening, the amazing opening with that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like watching from a distance, and he sees me, and he's like, "You can come watch it," and I'm like, "No, it's all right." I'm just like glancing more.
Nathan, I'm looking at the theater. They screwed it over too. It's in a small theater.
Share screen.
It's in a small screening.
I gotta call out some bullshit with this.
Let me share this.
Like, I get like there's like priority screenings for new flicks, but it's like, how busy are theaters right now with stuff that's playing, right? Like,
let me see. Oh, I'm all over the place. I'm tired, guys. I'm sorry.
Even with like the top performing ones right now are like, they're not like selling out the. You can sacrifice one of your medium sized at least theaters.
You see this shit?
Oh, fucking A.
You see this shit?
Oh, it's gross. Why is
you see this shit?
Middle. Oh, fucking A. That's almost smaller than mine. What the hell? Why are there 2 front rows to wait?
Is that not normal? There's always front rows, right?
I mean, well, yeah. There's always a front row, but it's never like double stacked in the tiny ones.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah, my theater double stacks it sometimes.
And like just not much in the. Oh, jeez. I mean, mine's not much better. Like, I gotta look.
Why? It's Star Trek.
It's Star Trek. It's like if you're playing a classic, like let them come. If you build it, they will come.
Let them come. Let them come.
Let them fight.
Let them fight. Yeah, I'm pissed, Bob.
There's so many like movies that I'm like randomly thinking to myself, like, oh man, we should come to. We already did.
we haven't done 09.
I forgot Barbie was coming back to IMAX.
Oh yeah, it's coming back. But yeah, that's about it, Bob.
No, I gotta display this because this is a bullshit.
Sure.
This is a bullshit size. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, that's sick. That's sick. Yeah, I don't like that.
Unfortunately, that's one of the theaters that I ended up watching Suzume in.
Oh man, yeah, that's weird. So what was I gonna say? So they're bringing back other movies to.
Yeah, they recently, like I think this past week they were playing Goonies, and I was thinking, damn, we got to get on our commentary.
Yeah, never watched Goonies.
They're playing Goonies in a big old thing.
Oh, aren't they bringing back Beauty and the Beast? Am I remember correctly?
They were doing Disney releases in different places.
Did that already happen? Yeah, I love it. One of my students was like, "Mr. Harris, what's your top 3 Disney movies?" And I was like, stumped. I was like,
I gotta check on something. I'll be right back.
Cool, you go. Yeah, one of my students today, as we take a short break, was like, "Mr. Harris, what's one of your favorite Disney movies?" Because for warm-ups, I always have them answer a random trivia question to start the day before we get into our class. And today was like, what was the first animated Disney movie released in theaters? As the answer is Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. But we were talking about Disney movies. I was like, I think number 1 is still Lion King. Number 2, Beauty and the Beast. 1 and 2 are pretty locked in for me. And then 3 is probably a tie between Mulan and Tangled for me. I love Tangled so much. I love Mulan so much though too. And then there's Tarzan, Aladdin, but I think Mulan and Tangled are pretty top tier for me, at least for straight up Disney movies, not like Pixar as well. So yeah, just thinking about all that kind of jazz. Overall, yeah. Where were we even talking about with Ahsoka? I forget what we were even talking about with Ahsoka. Oh yeah, we were talking about Sabine and Ahsoka and the whole training sequence. Again, for the 4th time. Not a huge training fan, but I like the sequence. I think it was really cool. And one of the best things that I was taking note of was like, how is, especially after episode 1 and 2, how are Sabine and Ahsoka's relationships going to improve? What are their individual arcs? And I'm still I'm still curious to see what becomes of Ahsoka's individual arc in comparison to Sabine. Like Sabine's arc is pretty clear, at least at this stage in the game. Hello.
Sorry, I had a mishap with my dinner.
Oh, did you get DoorDash, my friend?
Uber Eats.
You're one of
my
those
sister.
kids.
They forgot my fucking sushi.
Wow.
Pissed.
Was the sushi the main dish or the side dish?
It was side for me.
I
I got my main dish, but like fucking
Okay.
my dynamite roll, damn it.
Dang it. You just get all your money back, right? You get all the...
I'm about to fucking report it.
Yeah, get that refund. DoorDash is really quick with the refund. It's like missing, and then you get the DoorDash credits or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really simple and clean. As I was talking about, I was like, Sabine and Ahsoka's relationship is very interesting. I like their pair. Their arc is pretty clear in terms of like they're going to grow to become closer with one another and accept Sabine and Ahsoka grow to accept different parts of each other in order to really, reign supreme over Balin and Shin. But I was thinking, I was like, Ahsoka's arc is still 3 episodes in. I'm still getting used to it. I mean, I'm still trying to discover it. Like, what is Ahsoka's individual arc in comparison to what is Sabine's individual arc? Sabine's individual arc is clear in terms of she's trying to become more in tune with the Force. She is, again, she's contemplating, not even contemplating, she's upset. Because Huyang bluntly said in the previous episode that, like, she has very, very, very low affinity to the Force. And that's brought up again here, where Huyang is talking about how Sabine is going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard for Sabine to become acclimated to this new training. This training regimen here, where she has very low affinity to the Force, and Sabine's upset about that. Ahsoka talks about how her Mandalorian's rising up, or Huyang or Ahsoka, maybe both of them are talking about her Mandalorian origins, which again we kind of already know about Sabine. Nothing new to us, but we'll see it again here. But I like it. And then I like Sabine struggling with, having this very low affinity to the Force. But then Ahsoka kind of defends her, which I liked. In the previous episode, Ahsoka is kind of like, why is she taking on Sabine? I mean, that's still a good question. Like, why is she continuing to take on Sabine again? What has changed? I guess, the context has changed. The mission has changed. Like,
her talk with Hera.
Her talk with Hera really helped her out. And I think with Ezra, Ahsoka knows how personal this is, and it's a good time as any to reignite that passion for Sabine. But either way, what I was saying was that, like, she was kind of skeptical of Sabine in episode 1 and 2, but now she's coming to her defense with Huyang, where Huyang was like, again, not belittling, but just being blunt. Like, she has like very low affinity to the Force. And Ahsoka replies like,
well, it was a quote of like, Ahsoka was saying like, I don't need her to be a Jedi. I need her to be herself.
Exactly. Thank you. I was looking for that quote, which is a great quote from Ahsoka. Just be yourself, which means, you can accept your Mandalorian side, accept that anger and frustration, but also don't let it unbalance you. Like, Sabine has to be one with herself. And I think Ahsoka has full faith in Sabine, which I think has never faltered, I mean. But it'll be interesting to see that grow. And what was I saying? But yeah, and then I think later on in the episode, I'm kind of moving around here, but later on, Huyang talks about the low affinity to the Force and Sabine, and how Ahsoka came from a long line of non-traditional Jedi, which is very funny because it's very true. A lot of those other Jedi are not like classic Jedi. You got your Obi-Wans in her era. Obi-Wan's is like the prime example of a Jedi following their strict guidelines, although Obi-Wan's very complex, as we know. But Jedi like Dooku, Anakin, Ahsoka herself,
Qui-Gon,
Ahsoka, Anakin,
which are all part of the same
Dooku.
Of the same lineage of training that led us to where we are with Sabine.
Exactly, right? Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, and it all starts with Qui-Gon and Dooku and all the kind of great stuff where Dooku's doubt becomes Qui-Gon's doubts, or Qui-Gon had his own doubts at that time, but still, it's like those doubtful Jedi, and then it gives rise to Obi-Wan, who isn't as doubtful, but then Anakin kind of is.
I think it's like Obi-Wan more. I think he more so clings to the rules of the Order because it's all he has left.
Exactly, and that kind of made Anakin even more cavalier because he couldn't have that outlet, so it becomes more insulated in that way.
More like extremes to balance out.
Exactly, and then that gives rise to Ahsoka, and here we are today with Sabine. So what a cycle that is. Non-traditional Jedi, maybe Sabine's the next one to be there. But I like it again. I liked it because I think last week we were all like, Sabine becoming a Jedi, very interesting. But I like how Filoni's playing around with that term Jedi, Force, all kind of stuff. Just like, be yourself, and it'll come. Be patient. Let them come. So it's gonna be interesting. And then you get cute Sabine just trying to move the Force with the cup there. It wasn't gonna happen, but I fully thought we'd get like an Inception, little tilt.
Big twin, little X-Men last stand.
Yeah. I thought we'd get that moment, but man.
It made me think back to season 1 with Ezra trying to move the bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Chopper fucking with him.
So that was all good. Now, where do we go from here? Master
vibes. Go over to I think that's a tad bit ahead. Let's go to the Hera.
That's where it was. New Republic meeting. So, as Sabine and Ahsoka are on hyperspace en route to Cetos, they're waiting on confirmation from Hera that they're going to have some backup. This is a dangerous mission. We need some backup. Cut to Hera on home 1, thanks to Nathan's research. According to my research. But in home 1, we meet up with Hera, who's now meeting up with numerous High Republic senators.
Yeah, including Chancellor Mon Mothma, which I didn't remember her being the Chancellor.
Yeah. Is that new?
Is that new? Is that post-war election?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, good for
her. I'm trying to say.
Well, no, she wouldn't have been a Chancellor in Return of Jedi because the Emperor was ruling.
I'm trying to say, when did we learn? It's so weird. Star Wars, I feel like stuff becomes knowledge, and once you know something, it feels like it's always been like that. But then you're like, where did I learn that from? But I think we first learned that from Star Wars. Probably, I think a book. Star Wars Bloodline. I think talked about Chancellor Mon Mothma.
I think that was only like post Jedi.
But that was like,
or
that was
maybe
that was way post Jedi. That was in Rise of the First Order era.
That was like Road to Last Jedi, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was post 2015. Yeah, I think Bloodline was 2017. No, when did Bloodline come out? 2016. We'll see. But yeah, that was definitely post because I talked about like Ben Solo, I think, or Bloodline.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a quick excerpt.
Yeah, 2016. That's what it was. I know it was like 2016, 2017, one of those books. And yeah, I think again that was like 23 years from where we are in. Well, actually, Mando was like 6 years after Return of the Jedi, so that means it's about 20 years later. But yeah, we have with Chancellor Mon Mothma, played by Genevieve O'Reilly. from Andor, from Revenge of the Sith. So it was very cool seeing her transition to this era, and I think it transitioned smoothly.
Yeah, and it's an interesting case, right? Because this is effectively one of their first like major roles of a younger recast now playing a older version of the character post the original actor.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I
And
think,
this,
yeah.
well, this is because like I know like everyone has always been favorable for recast, but like I never knew how I would feel about like the post iconic casting of a character. But ultimately, it this opened my eyes more clearly to like it's really just like the performance itself that
Yeah.
you enjoy and that you fall for the interpretation of the character. And like as is like I love Herman Mothma, I love Alden as Han, and so I feel like if you were to do a post Jedi Han, like I wouldn't mind if Alden stepped in the shoes.
Exactly. He's old enough. It works. Like, what? Alden's like 30, something like that. He's as old as Harrison was in Return of the Jedi. Maybe even older. I don't know.
He was like 33.
Sure.
I think
Yeah. So I think it would work. Yeah, I'm always a fan of like just recast. We don't need any CGI Luke Skywalkers again.
but they will.
They will, yeah.
That's why we've developed the technology as far as it has.
Which is why I'm so scared for like Dave Filoni's New Republic film, because I'm like, they could easily bring back the trio if they wanted to. If they wanted to.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because it's like I feel like they will, but like at the same time,
Oh, stop it!
well, hold on. It's just like I only feel like it will be like a very small appearance, based on.
Then why do it at all?
Well, that's the funny thing is like, can you imagine if they were just like the full runtime? It's gonna be them.
That'd be gross.
That'd be wild. But then it's also weird to like stop and think about that Book of Boba Fett episode because like that was a lot of screen time for Luke.
That was, yeah. I mean, I can see it now. Luke, Han, and Leia. Oh man, Leia will be actually weird because rest in peace Carrie Fisher. So that'd be even weirder to do.
They already like semi did it with Billy doing stand-in for Tross.
Oh, true.
For the training.
But that was a special case. Like this is they full knowledge of like the event. So it's like, I mean, again, but they could do Han and Luke, and people would still like go crazy over it. But it would be awful and bad. And don't do it, please, Filoni.
God damn it! Because I could see like
I can see it too.
I can see but what I can see is the trio standing together in like an iconic imagery shot, and then Twitter blowing up like this is what we wanted the whole time. Shut up! Get the fuck out of here! You're grounded. No TV for a year.
I think my timeline would be the opposite. They'd be like, "This is the death of Star Wars."
Well, you have a good configured timeline.
Yeah, I mean,
mine is a fucking hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You gotta fix your For You tab.
I've muted the word budget.
Weak.
I hate it, man. Like every time like I see you quote something, I'm like, what? Oh, okay. That's fine. Because you just hear some assholes like make a point of argument like the budget, and like
why?
It never goes anywhere.
It never goes anywhere. But yeah, let's get into this meeting. Basically, all I wrote here in my notes was like shady senators that reminded me of what we got in Mando season 3. I thought this was a very cool. I'm not a huge fan of Mando season 3, but in episode 3 or 4 of Mando season 3, we got the episode all about like the Empire, not Empire, but like post-Empire, Imperial, whatever, resuscitation program or reconfirmation program, whatever it was called. Right. And in that episode on Coruscant, we got like after the dude delivered his speech, like he's greeted by all these shady senators who were like, oh, we so really like your program and all that kind of stuff. And it's like these senators who were not involved with the war are trying to reap the benefits of the people who are touting their accomplishments post-war on Coruscant. They're like, oh man, and they're talking about like, oh, the Imperials, Republics, they're all the same to me. It's like, oh, la-di-do-da day.
I always think of DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you can't really think like that. It's kind of like racist. Like, I don't see color. Like these guys, like all like, or I don't Imperial, whatever. And now we kind of get that with the senators here, where they're super shady about like Hera's warnings about Thrawn. It's like they want to believe it's an impossibility because they don't want to commit to any kind of action at all. They're too scared. And it's interesting because like this nervousness, this fear is what gives rise to power. We've seen it so many times pre World War II, when Hitler is running around in 1938, invading Belgium, like nearly invading Poland. I mean, that happens later, but like maybe it was 1936. But either way, it's like, pre World War II, Hitler is like doing all these aggressive acts, and countries are just like, signing these non-aggression pacts with Hitler, or doing all these kinds of different kinds of pacts where it's like they don't want to commit to war after World War I. They want to appease. They want to do these appeasement tactics. And it's similar here where they're not really appeasing because they think there's no entity to appease, but they're just acting like nothing's there. If we act like nothing's there, if nothing's happening, then there can't be conflict, right? And Hera's like, you idiots. If Thrawn comes, there's going to be conflict anyways. Like, we might as well go on the aggressive, be aggressive about it.
The senator dude, Kaz's dad.
Ziono,
which I feel unfortunate for Kaz. I'm watching it and like he says some shit that's like, don't you think it'd be better to put our resources towards something more useful? And I'm like, motherfucker, what are you saving? Gas? Like,
what are you using resources for? Because we saw Mando season 3, and your resources are still terrible. You still have people going through, like, remember that one episode where Mando, they're all like going through those folders, like not folders, but just like all those like different cubicles are still going on there, which they brought back from Andor. But it's like all those cubicles, and people are like, they're over budget. And even the New Republic guy was like, hey, can I borrow a ship to help out these Mandalorians? So like, we're already overbooked. We can't really do it. It's like, you're not even using your resources there. So what resources are you actually going to be using here? Like, are you guys really that overstaffed, that overbooked? Like, I get it. It's a hectic time. That makes sense. But also, we see that you're not using your resources correctly anyways. So it's not great, Bob. Not great. It's just an excuse, really. It's just an empty excuse because they don't want to help out what they believe is a fairy tale. And they bring back, of course, the Ezra jab from Senator Ziono. It's like, is your mind clouded because you think like Ezra's still alive when he's actually most likely dead? And I'm like, ouch, hello, uncalled for, out of pocket,
right? And it's like, was something like so like dire of just like, hey, we just got peace back, and you don't want to lose it. Like, it would be nice if because both Hera and Mon Mothma were both at the battle, or aware of the Battle of Scarif during Rogue One. That was like, we pulled a Hail Mary and it gave us like one of the best victories of our careers in the war, like destroying the entire Death Star.
We wouldn't be if it wasn't for Battle of Scarif, exactly.
And that was of rebels, like at least like a third of the base, like being like, we're going
off orders. Yeah,
this is the right decision, and it fucking was.
That was amazing. You're totally right, Nathan. Great call, because like that was a decision off the books, not off the books, but just like, hey, fuck it. Like, we'll use as many as we can to go do this attack, and while others disagreed, and it proved successful, barely, but successful in the end. And I think not taking this action, leaving it just to Hera or just to Sabine and Ahsoka is going to be very costly. Granted, we know Sabine and Ahsoka can be fine, but it's like, it's still, Thrawn is coming, and he's going to be a big threat.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, I think it's good like service for the story, for contact the characters. I just mean like calling out the fucking senator dude is it seems like his mindset is that it's like a wild goose chase.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, so if nothing's there, nothing's there. At least you fucking checked under the bed for monsters, man.
Exactly. So yeah, that was bad. And then of course Hera gets kind of like the last laugh, talking about how, were you ever involved in the war, Senator? And of course he wasn't. He's one of the bystanders, living his life on Coruscant, probably just waiting for it all to end, not caring who won, kind of thing. And now he gets to reap the benefits and have to make these big decisions that are impacting the New Republic. Not great. And it's always fun to see constant flaws in the New Republic. It's sad to see. Like,
especially when you know that the First Order will rise.
Yeah, ever since we've heard of the New Republic, it's just been riddled with flaws. Like, it started with Bloodline, and then like post Return of the Jedi stuff in the Aftermath trilogy. Like, you just read and see more and more via comics, books, video games. Like, these post New Republic era stuff is just riddled with flaw after flaw after flaw. And again, leading all up to the rise of the First Order, which easily came to take over the galaxy again with ease because of what the New Republic failed to do. So it's tragic.
It makes me wonder if like we get to the Filoni's Heir of the Empire thing, if it's gonna like conclude like fucking, even if like it ends with like Thrawn dying or something, if like he fucking wins because the First Order has paved the way.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it will win, but then I think we'll see yet again bigger flaws within the New Republic that again clue bigger audiences into like, hey, this is how the First Order was so easily able to rise. It was thanks to these dissidents. Granted, the First Order is already out in like, the unknown regions, as we saw with like the Shadow Councils and all that kind of cool stuff.
That's right.
But yeah, they're cooking. So that was great. Then we get Jason reveal in the hallway.
Sorry. I was laughing. I was laughing because I remember I have this meme saved on my phone of fucking that Squidward yelling around Spoto and Patrick, and it's like, oh yeah, he's spitting some bullshit.
Basically.
But yes, we run to Jason, and he looks like a kid.
He looks like a kid.
Our group chat jokes about like, look at this horrendous monster. Like he looked like a fucking. He looked like a Keebler elf, but he looked fine.
Yeah, I didn't mind it until like later on, like it got funny and people talk about it. But I was like, okay, I guess he's not the most best looking kid in the world. But anyways, yeah, this kid's cool now.
Yeah, he's cool. His hair is definitely green.
Definitely green.
He's got Kanan's complexion, I feel.
Yeah.
He's got a little shoulder pad like Kanan.
Yeah. Well, I like that too. Like nice symbolic, meaning there. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was like, will he ever become a Jedi? Who knows? But
I was gonna go into that point. Is like when I had a very like my worldview has changed so much since I was a kid watching Star Wars, because he runs in, he's like, I want to be a Jedi, and I'm sitting here like, no, you don't. Run.
You don't want this life. You don't
want this life. You don't want what I got.
Yeah, it seems Sabine or maybe even Ezra. What?
I was trying to remember. I think that quote was from the Wolverine.
Anyway. But seeing to be maybe even Ezra train Jason would be kind of fun.
That would be my preferred. If any, because most people default like Luke's Academy. I'd let Ezra let Kanan's other surrogate son train his real son.
Yeah, Luke's still figuring stuff out. But yeah, let Ezra or Sabine take on that mantle. Maybe they could both do it. That'd be really cool.
I have no idea where Ahsoka's journey goes.
Yeah, where Ahsoka goes, nobody knows.
Is she dead by Tross? I don't know.
Oh god.
Because you remember that quote was Filoni going around. Doesn't mean she's dead. And they're like, stop doing this, Dave. Stop doing the Ahsoka lives post Ahsoka lives.
I mean, I think that was all JJ. Where it's just like, maybe not JJ, but somebody in the story group was like, let's bring in Ahsoka there for random weirdness.
Right, which was voiced by Ashley, but it was live action, so everything's fucked.
Or maybe it had to be Dave actually, because Dave writes off everything that Ahsoka does. So
yeah, Dave was specifically asked because of his creation.
Exactly. So yeah, and then we talked about it earlier, but we got that forced discussion after this between Sabine and Ahsoka about Sabine's talent. And again, Ahsoka all about how training and focus and discipline are three things that are key ingredients for success, no matter how many doubts Sabine has. Ahsoka hammers home that no matter how many doubts you have about your lack of potential in terms of being a Jedi, training, focus, discipline are all key ingredients here that you're just going to need. If you can't get those things, then it won't even matter, force or no force, that you'll be able to become what you want to become, a Jedi. What will you become? So again, I like that moment with Ahsoka. Again, she's defending Sabine. She's coming to support Sabine, whereas Huyang is unfortunately being a blatant droid here, and
Yeah,
with his years of experience, it's like it makes sense, right? But yeah, because Sabine is far different from anybody he's ever taught before. But yeah, and then we cut back to we got the cup moment, which was cool, and then of course we cut back to them coming through to the Denab system. And from then on, the episode is full on flying sequence after flying sequence after flying sequence. It was cool. I think the sound design, of course, very cool in these shows.
The dogfight of the gunner seat felt very, very A New Hope.
Big time.
Just in terms of, like, the structure of the ship movements.
The structure of the ship movement, exactly. The way the the guns are lined up and angled and everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the way the camera pans around it. Not like around, but like, stagnant with it.
Yeah. Really cool stuff there. I like how, by the way, Shin's like a great pilot. Like, are all people who train in the Force also get like great piloting training as well? Did Balin train Shin to be a good pilot?
I figure it's just like the precognizance of
it just comes with the
foresight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is Anakin so good at flying? Like, how can this child human survive the pod race?
Yeah. Is there ever any Jedi who just sucks at flying? I mean, Obi-Wan wasn't the best, but he did.
Obi-Wan hates flying, but like he can pull it off. He's going through those asteroids.
Yeah, like he did good at Attack of the Clones, right? And
he wasn't like flying. R5 take the wheel. Like, no.
Yeah. R5 take the wheel. So yeah, these Jedi, they're good at flying. But what I liked here, and Star Wars Explained mentioned it too, where Morgan and Shin kind of like a short back and forth where Morgan talks about like you're unable to shoot down Ahsoka as Ahsoka gets closer and closer on her ship to the ring, the Eye of Sion, and then Morgan shoots Ahsoka. You think it's all over, but then Ahsoka pops out on the other end, barely alive, and or the ship at least barely alive. And Shin's like, you missed, or she's still alive.
You almost got them.
And Morgan's like, son of a, like,
both. And I do remember, like, oh yeah, they're hired people. They're not just like, they're not minions.
Exactly. They're not disciples of Morgan. Like, hey, Morgan, we do everything you tell us to do. So it was like that back and forth, which I kind of like. I'm very curious to see where that, if anything, where that goes. Because again, they are hired people. They're not like devout followers of Morgan. Is it Morgan? It's Morgan, right?
I think it's Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan. So they're not devout followers of her, so that's interesting to see where that goes. Yeah. And then Ahsoka defending a ship from hyperspace, defending the ship from space in general. Very goofy, but it was cool. I liked it.
It felt very Clone Wars.
Yeah, it felt very Clone Wars.
You know, going on. I mean, the season 3 finale we watched, a 0 hour, they were doing shit like that.
They were doing the same thing.
Big old bubble helmet for Ezra.
Yeah.
I like the like. Did Ahsoka get that tailored? Because that was like a 1-for-1 fit. For like,
I think it's probably tailored for like her species. Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. This happened in the High Republic recently, and I was telling Jalen during the episode. During the High Republic, they had to fix this satellite dish or communications array. And while they were fixing it, they parked the ship near it, and somebody like let the hangar open, and she was like defending the ship via inside the space, and it was really cool. It was just like taking the brunt of like these ship lasers with her own lightsabers, like just at a cross like this to defend it. It was really cool. Read the High Republic, guys. It's fun. But yeah, they defend the ship. They just barely use the like backup power generators to make it into the atmosphere of Cetos, where the fighting continues, where Shin follows them into the Cetos' atmosphere, and we're introduced to Purgil, which we saw a little bit of silhouette-wise at the beginning of episode 2. And then we see it again here in episode 3, where it's just like full-blown live-action Purgil. And it was very cool to see.
I thought you were going to bring up the silhouettes in the Mandalorian when Grogu was looking at him.
That too as well. Yep. Yeah. So it was really cool. This is our first time. Like, I was just mind-blown because I'm so used to seeing these in animation.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, it's a humpback whale.
Yeah, like the whales looked very like imposing and like creepy, but also like mystifying. It was really cool.
It was interesting because I just rewatched the episode again before we went live, and I know whales are already fucking huge on our planet, but these feel even more gigantic. Like their ship is flying by, and it's like the size of their fucking eyeball. So
yeah, it's
that ship is,
insane.
and it's already that big ass ship that they walk around in.
It's insane. And then when Sabine's like going in between the tails, it's closing in, and it's like these things are massive. It's wild. I'm like these are the things that grabbed. Like, imagine
I was
watching.
I'd be traumatized,
dude. Right? Imagine watching the Rebels finale in live action now with these Pergil horror movie shit.
If they were to recreate this, I'd be like, oh no!
I'm like, oh shit!
Even if Ezra's a better man than me, because I'd be so fucking freaked out.
Yeah, he's doing that, and the tails are like inside of the ship, wrapping themselves around Thrawn, lighting up around him with the hyperspace arrays. Like,
so it's the equivalent of being pulled down to the depths.
Right? It's creepy. Oh my god.
That is so scary. These giant things grab your fucking ship, breaking the windows, and you just it's like charging. Like,
if I saw that live action, maybe it's mostly because
I would order my lieutenant to shoot me.
Yeah, just please shoot
I can't do it.
Like the cloudiness, the storms of Cetos made it even more like dark and imposing and creepy. But even then, like the light of Lothal, like it still would have been creepy because these things are just massive creatures. And we're probably going to see even more of them as we get closer to Thrawn's location.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you know, Sabine and Ahsoka mentioned, like last time we saw these things was when the last time they saw Ezra, or at least for Sabine, at least not Ahsoka. Last time Ahsoka saw Ezra was in War Between Worlds. So it's been a minute for her. So yeah, I mean, Ahsoka wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for Ezra. Ezra came through clutch.
So she owes him. Is what you're saying.
She owes him. It was always funny, like revisiting the Rebels. Just like the Wolves of Lothal basically didn't help save Kanan at all. They basically helped him save Ahsoka. For what purpose? I guess we'll see in the show.
I mean, I guess it could be in the long run to save Ezra for a greater purpose there.
Yeah, how far ahead were these things cooking?
Is it the long con of like fucking like we gotta set the chain of reaction to bring Thrawn back to get to the First Order to fucking bring Rey to?
Yeah, like how long was Filoni cooking? Because we always got that the wolves were all the Loth wolves were like precognizant, like they knew of Kanan's death before it a little bit, right? They knew of what was going to happen with the cosmic force because they were meeting up with him days before he died. So
I mean, in fairness, when you look at the storytelling of the Force that you hear before, it's just like, well, now Vader and Palpatine are in power. Luke and Leia are born. Just gonna let that sit for 19 years.
Yeah, we're just gonna let that chill a little bit, and then we're gonna cook. So yeah, Purgo happened. Cool visuals. Balin plans to encounter them in the Force, like basically track them down, and that's the last we see. I wish we saw more of Balin, but I think he's gonna cook next week.
Absolutely. Will he walk out of it? I hope so.
Great question, because we don't see Balin given the trailers after this. We don't see any characters after this, to be fair. So yeah, hopefully Balin and Shin last a while to the finale until their untimely, unfortunate, most likely demise. Actually, Balin dying more than Shin, actually, because again, the older figure is more prone to death in Star Wars than the younger ones, minus Ben. But yeah.
I do also remember that Merrick was around piloting amidst the dogfights as well.
He said some lines.
He said a couple lines and it was a voice modulated line.
Yeah, I think
which again scares me. Like, is it a reveal?
Hopefully not.
It's Starkiller.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind because somebody said thematically it would be cool the idea of a Vader apprentice going against an Anakin apprentice, and I was like, that is kind of a cool idea.
Yes, it sounds cool. Yeah.
So he's around. If he's going to join in on the battle on the ground too, I don't know.
True.
If he's making it to like the climactic end, I don't know. Do you think there's any possibility? I was around anything. Any possibility he might have any connection with the Knights of Ren?
Nah.
Maybe he's just coming from there. No, just Inquisitor.
Just Inquisitor.
Okay.
Yeah, Filoni doesn't want to get that deep into canon. He's like, I don't read.
Who are the Knights of Ren again? Are they a fucking biker gang that got recruited by fucking Snoke?
Yeah, they're kind of like anarchists, Sith anarchists, or not even Sith. They don't really associate themselves with being Sith. They're basically just.
But are they Force sensitive?
Ren's Force sensitive to a degree, definitely. The other ones, not too much, but they have potential. But they're mostly just mercenaries.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not until like it's complicated because in the era of where we are, they're not really full on like devout people with Sith. It wasn't until like the end of the War for Bounty Hunters, with the whole Kira stuff, where Kira kind of like used them to help defeat Sidious and Palpatine and Vader, that then they like surrendered to Palpatine, and then after Return of the Jedi, though, after their death, it's like what happened to them.
Oh, we got a little bit of them with when Ben was brought into the fold.
Exactly. That's kind of like when the last time we saw them, when Ben was like 10 or 6 or whatever, and then they were like, "Oh, okay." And by that point, they were kind of working with Snoke. So it's like we don't know how they ever encountered Snoke, but by then they were working with Snoke, because Snoke was really setting that trap, like, "Bring the boy to me."
Bring me the boy.
Back when Snoke was semi-interesting before becoming a puppet of Palpatine.
The boy who lived.
Come to dine.
Come to dine. What was that? The context of that? I forgot.
It's that movie with Anna Taylor-Joy.
That's right. It was The Menu. That's right.
The Menu. What a great movie.
Come to dine.
It's fun. It was great. But yeah, that was it. Small predictions. I'm curious to see some Baylan versus Ahsoka. That line from episode 1 or 2, where Baylan's like, man, like he looks down in somber look, where he's like, I really don't want to have to kill Ahsoka, but if she can get in the way, she's gonna get in the way. And then also that line of Baylan being like, others see power like us. Like there's people who crave power, but for us, I see a new beginning, right? Like with Thrawn. So like, what kind of talks are we gonna get between Baylan and Ahsoka? I want to see that dynamic in action, please.
So often we see the hero talking to the villain, just like, you don't have to do this, and either they're just like, yes I do, or it's too late. Wouldn't it be just nice, just like, you don't have to do this, and you're like, can you help me?
Yeah.
Let's do it. If you see a better path, please tell me. I don't want to be ignorant to this.
That'd be fun. Because like, again, what can Thrawn offer these two mercenaries? Like, I'm very curious.
Power.
New beginning. Like, what do you want, Baylan? What do you want, Shin? Shin wasn't even alive last time Thrawn was in. I mean, Shin, I guess, was a little bit alive when Thrawn was in picture.
9 times out of 10, it's like, we can give you anything your heart's desire, and they're just like, bring me the fucking head of whoever. That's typically what it is, just revenge plots.
So I'm very curious to see what happens here. But I think episode 4, unfortunately, we're still going to be on Cetos. We're still not going to be in this new galaxy.
Because we got 8 episodes, right?
Yeah, 8 episodes.
Because originally I was thinking about this as a 6-episode structure, so I figured we would like stepping stone quicker to whenever Ezra would come back. But now I'm thinking it's farther, because I don't think Ezra's coming back till the end of the penultimate.
Probably. So yeah, 8 episodes. We'll be halfway through by then. So maybe 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all in the new galaxy, hopefully. Which is unfortunate. Half the season's gonna be new. But granted, like Cetos, all these new stuff is pretty cool too. But I'm like, I was expecting full on like we're in the new galaxy after episode 2. But it's gonna take a minute. But hopefully episode 4 progresses things a little bit further, at least pace wise, and hopefully we get some good interaction between these different characters. So that's what I'm looking for.
Can I ask your opinion on how do you feel about, relatively speaking, the third Star Wars story to be plot driven by following a map that both the heroes and villains have, and it's a race against who gets there first?
What's the first one? Oh, Force Awakens, Tross, and now this.
Yeah.
Not great. I'm kind of used to it now. It's not like it's not my cup of tea, but like it's good. I mean, I love the Force Awakens, right? But I guess I don't mind it as long as I get along that journey some good character interactions. In Force Awakens, They gave me Reylo. They gave me like Finn and Rey. Like I love that stuff. This one, I'm like, I'm still waiting for some cool. Like Sabine and Ahsoka are cool, but like.
I think
I need more.
I think any other time it would probably rub me the wrong way to be here again in that path, but because I'm so pre-exposed ever since 2017 to like we're gonna go try to find Ezra, it's like, well, yeah, I knew this would be the case. So
I knew it would be a search. Like this is always going to be a search show. Search for Ezra,
yeah.
search for Thrawn. Like it's a race.
We were never gonna tune back in and just like we're moving in. He's got to be here.
Exactly. So yeah, there we go. But also another prediction. Like I was talking about it when you went away, but I'm curious about what Ahsoka's arc is going to be this season. Like we're still.
It's funny, right? It's her build show.
It's her show, and Sabine's arc is clear. Once again, I think Sabine's arc, apprentice, he's struggling in that. She's going to try and be in tune with the Force, trust her own talents, trust herself. And then, of course, Sabine's relationship with Ahsoka is going to grow. Ahsoka's relationship with Sabine is going to grow. But what is Ahsoka's individual arc? Besides just like, I got to find Thrawn because Thrawn's a threat. We get that. Mm-hmm. That's the exterior motivation. But interior-wise, what is Ahsoka growing? How is she growing in this season?
Now I'm thinking about it. I think it could, because in both her appearance in Mando and here, she's been very like apprehensive about training anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you could probably find a compelling arc to be told of Ahsoka's in a place that she would be a great help to teach a new generation for the better, but because she walked away from the Order, never really like reached full master status, she doesn't know how to be a teacher, because not anybody can be a teacher. Like you can't just like take a random person off the road and be like, teach calculus, like because it's not just like reciting the fucking curriculum. I'm sure it's like you got to engage with your students so that they actually take it in.
Exactly.
So I can probably see her like faulting, even though she's getting back together with Sabine. I'm sure they'll hit some type of roadblock, and I think because presumably Anakin will show up at a point that he'll give some guiding words to send her on the right path. Because even in the spot they had, he has a line that's like, I know you can do this, Ahsoka, and makes my heart warm. So I could see that being the arc path to, like, again, mixed in with her determination of not becoming a Jedi, just becoming the good-natured fighter for others.
Yeah, that's a great point. I love all those points. I think Ahsoka's struggle with what it means to be a master, especially at this time of her life too. She's pretty much an adult, and it's a very interesting stage in Ahsoka's life. And she had been she had been very stoic these first couple episodes, which is fair.
It's fair, but and I gave that the benefit to like where the characters are in their placement, especially Sabine being like she's clearly depressed. But yeah, I do want to see some more live. I think there was a little hint of it when like she was like floating outside the ship, like, you get it fixed yet?
Love it. Yeah.
It's funny because like I know Rosario Dawson to be a very like energetic actress, so
yeah. I think her performance in Daredevil season 1 is great. What she brings there, yeah.
So I know she can, be
emote.
Even more. So yeah, so it's funny to just imagine like is why they're giving her purposefully these directions to be very stoic. I know she's like an older master role in this point, but you can still.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear, like I'm not saying like it's not the Captain Marvel criticism of like,
no,
why isn't she smiling, which was sexist and stupid.
Yeah. We like Captain Marvel.
We like Captain Marvel, yeah. But for this one, I'm just like, she's a sensei. She's a master, and her role is very like also just very mysterious and hasn't changed. And I guess that has to do with her apprehension still. But like I'm waiting for that growth, which is again back to her growth, her arc. What is going to change with Ahsoka moving forward? But yeah, I'm excited because I think meeting another master in Baylan might awaken some things or might shake up her foundations a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. I think there's always a cool discussion. The best lightsaber duels and interactions, of course, when we get those cool discussions along with it, like Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very excited for this next episode. We seem to be getting most likely some duels, some like cat and mouse games going on. I'm excited. Again, Tuesday 9 p.m. event television. I love it. Thank you,
Perfect.
Disney, for finally making a good decision. Yeah.
Dude, I got so scared because the the hurricane was rolling in my neck of the woods, and the hour that Ahsoka dropped, my internet cut. I was like,
that's the worst timing. That's crazy.
Please no. Luckily, I was able to get it back up, and then also the hurricane was nothing. Like it at a point was like it's gonna be category 2, 3, and it dropped down to a 1, and then we got like 5 minutes of sprinkled showers. Like, glad that everybody's okay, but also I'm fucking pissed. That'll work though, so yeah. But anyway, yes, I'm excited to see the duels for Ahsoka. I wonder, the duel could get interrupted for sure because their whole fucking hyperspace ring is right up there, and they're on the search. So
yeah, what's Morgan gonna be doing? She's gonna be chilling. Hopefully, we don't get a Morgan becomes just a Moff Gideon type where she just sits in a room with CGI and just like smirks and says words.
Right, because
I want Morgan to do something, but yeah, it's only been 3 episodes. I'm not worried or anything. I'm just curious.
Oh, I mean, at this point, I really only feel her to be like a devoted disciple. Like I don't know. There's not been like much.
She's also the one who said she heard voices, which I don't think those were voices, or at least I don't think those are Thrawn's voices.
Oh wait, yeah, no, that's fucking right. I forgot she's also a Night Sister.
Yeah,
do some shit. Let's go. We got a hint of it with the fucking the green flame, and I was like,
do some shit. God. She comes down to the planet, bro. I was like, oh, shit.
It's my time.
Yeah.
It's one over. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see that. But as far as like the main players on the planet right now, we got, Ahsoka and Sabine against Baylan, Shin, and Merrick. So it's a little outnumbered right now.
Yeah. Too bad for them. You know what I mean?
We ain't gonna fuck some people up.
Yeah.
Imagine. Do you think Hu Yang would be proficient with a saber if he's training forms?
Probably. I think he could hold his own a little bit.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
He would need another blade, but
yeah, he'll need some weapons. Yeah, but otherwise he'll be fine. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good one.
That was good. Yeah, that was about it. We could vamp for another 45 minutes if you want.
I'll go eat my food.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at HarrisEV9. Catch us Sunday, right, for the next
Sunday.
Sunday. Saw 5, which is good. I don't have school on Monday, Labor Day. So I'm like,
oh,
great.
I'm off on Monday.
Awesome.
Are we doing a show? No.
Yeah. If people want to tune into my bewildered Saw 4 reaction, I'm just like, what did I just watch? What kind of movie was this? I don't know what I just watched. What did we call it?
You've seen nothing yet.
I didn't love it. I didn't like it.
You loved it.
But I had so much fun. That mirror editing shot. Why? Why?
He walks in like, hey, I got some. Chaotic as hell.
That was chaotic.
Who directed this? Ang Lee, Circa the Hulk.
That editing also is crazy in the Hulk. But yeah, Saw 4 was a trip. It was a trip. It was everything wrong with the Saw franchise, but everything, it was just so right and so funny in all the best ways. Man, this franchise is giving. I wouldn't have done it, and I would have been so bored watching these just leisurely at home by myself.
Yeah.
But I'm having so much fun watching these with Nathan and just like laughing at how ridiculous and dumb these characters are.
You getting the soap opera vibes now?
It's pure soap. It's pure soap. It's horror soap. That's a great word to say. It's a horror soap. Not to be taken too seriously at all. It's so much fun.
Horror soap sounds like so much of like that sounds so awesome.
Yeah.
But we're experiencing it, and yet I'm a fan, so I guess.
I mean, there's been cheesy. Like Malignant is close to that. Malignant is also it's just a very good movie too.
Yeah.
Malignant is also just very good. And the Fear Street movies are kind of in that vibe as well.
I need to watch those.
They're really cheesy, but actually have some good character stuff. Saw movies don't even care about character work or whatever. Anyways, I mean, besides Jigsaw. Anyways,
again, we described it as each installment being a patch note of the last one.
Yeah, basically, big time. But yeah, we're watching Saw movies, so check us out, like and subscribe there. But I'm always talking about Big Brother on Twitter. I haven't watched any live feeds all day. I'm getting like live feed withdrawal. syndrome. So yeah, no,
More that drama.
I need some life eats. So I'm doing that. You know, I'm still working through Final Fantasy 16. You know, this fall has some upcoming games I'm excited for. Like, you know, Spider-Man comes out in October. The new Naruto game finally got a release date for November. So that's gonna be my next game after Spider-Man. So yeah, everything's doing good. I'm like the only one not playing Baldur's Gate 3. Everybody else is playing it. Maybe I'll get it in the future. Baldur's Gate 3 is blowing up.
Was that
So
the
yeah, I'm
game
just
that had similar mechanics looking to Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. No, Baldur's Gate is kind of like the fantasy RPG game that people are playing, where it's like you can make your own decisions and just you know, make a family, have sex with random people, kill random things. It's
Sold.
just all based on like your decisions, stuff like that. It's really fun, like Dragon Age type of stuff.
That sounds fun.
Anyways, so yeah, I'm just living life. It's going good. School's actually going good. I'm not upset at school. I'm like, you know, not super stressed like the last 2 years have been. So
Wow.
third year teaching going pretty well. So that's my life so far.
Nice.
Living like Larry.
We should really grab some SpongeBob episodes to do commentaries on.
Yeah, but post Saul just to
Cleanse.
Yeah, there's the word. Cleanse ourselves. Post Saul. Yeah.
Cleanse with a sponge.
Yeah.
You can follow me at _TimeBlazer, making a show called Time Blazer with creative consultant and co-star Evan Harris.
Oh yeah, playing Ben. Fun stuff.
Not the Ben you're thinking, although I would be too selfish and I would play him. But actually, I did. I fucking did. I did the rewrite of Skywalker, and I played Ben for a couple lines.
It's good.
It's all right, but it's what got me on the fucking
oh yeah,
crossroads to do this animation for Time Blazer. So again, I'm eternally somehow grateful and Otros my development of my fucking life's work. The more you know. But yeah, it's a fun time travel found family drama is the best description of it. It's very science fiction fantasy-esque, but also it's set in modern day. It's primarily just vibes, man. It's vibes and superheroes and drama and story of overcoming grief. So, you know, there's plenty of heart to it. I love it, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. I keep saying that. I gotta show some stuff, so that'll be soon. But that being said, if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you like, subscribe, now, ring the bell so you don't miss future coverage of Ahsoka's episodes and further beyond of Dave's wild mind. And that being said, I hope you have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.